Hey, all, welcome to my channel. It's been a while, actually. Happy New Year to you all. Hopefully 2025 is a prosperous new year for everyone. Um, 2 years ago, I did a thing where I was going to do a live every week, at least once a week. For the year, I did that. Turned out it was not really worth it, so I'm not even going to bother. This year, resolution when it comes to the podcast, uh, I don't have any, honestly. I thought I would, but I don't. Well, podcast slash video, whatever you want to call it. I'd like to grow this into a podcast. I think more so. I think maybe I want to focus a little bit more. And now it's granted I'm starting off on the wrong foot, but I want to focus a little bit more to get more people on board at that point as well too, and like having more people, interact with more people, as well as them interacting with me, and or vice versa, etc. Anyways, let's go to the subject at hand. Um, NFL weekend. The NFL week is gone. Giants officially uh, have the third pick. The question is, did they goof on their end? I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest. When the Giants were playing against the Indianapolis Colts, it made no sense why they won. Why would you win for something like that? Why would you go and play for the win when you should have gone for the loss so that you could get the number one draft pick? Worst case, if you're not gonna, sorry, if you're not gonna like basically draft Ward or Sanders, then you might as well trade that draft pick away and get some capital, because the Browns and the probably the Patriots, depending, but the Browns and Raiders definitely need a quarterback. Could have traded them off. And worst case is like with the Giants, hey, they could probably get Kirk Cousins. I mean, chances are Minnesota is gonna, not Minnesota, Atlanta's gonna release Kirk Cousins. So you might as maybe try to get him. There's talk of like, hey, JJ McCarthy, like maybe the Giants should make some trades to get McCarthy. I don't think that's the right approach, quite honestly. I don't think McCarthy is that great, because if he was that good, I think oh crap, I forgot his name now. John, not John Gruden. I have Gruden in my head for some reason. I don't know why. Um, uh, Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh would have tried to, see if he could have gotten him at that point, but he didn't. He knew full well that maybe he's not the quarterback that was built for the NFL like the way Justin Herbert is. But pivoting a little bit, as a Giants fan, yeah, I'm a little pissed off to the point where I don't know what's going on with management. Like Mara in his press conference towards the end of it, basically at the end of the season, he was going back and forth. It made no sense. One minute he was like, I think because of the fact that back in October he basically gave his word, saying like not word, but he basically says like, I'm not gonna let Shine and Joe Shine and daboll basically go, because the fact is I'm gonna call him Sean, because when I said Shine there was but anyways, Shine and daboll, he had a vote of confidence in him, not realizing that they were gonna go this bad, that if he never sent them, I think he would have dropped them both. But the fact is that they're there. I don't think they were able to defend their jobs properly. I mean, yeah, this last draft, Shine's some of the picks that Shine had has worked out decently. Quite honestly. Specifically the running backs, of course, Neighbors. Now, I'll be honest, like Neighbors, that was the right pickup. It looks like that was the right pickup, because the other aspect is I think daboll even recognized it as well too. Looking at daboll and looking at Hard Knocks, he actually recognized it. I think there was a lot of miscues on his part. Let's be honest, there was a lot of miscues. I think he's recognizing it. And to the point where, like, did he think that Daniel Jones was the right person, right quarterback for the future? I think he even had some doubts at that point. Question is did daboll kind of push Shine to like maybe sign Daniel Jones when it came time to when he was for those 4 years? I don't know. Daboll probably was full of himself, like thinking that hey, I got a quarterback that I can work with. Reality is, chances are it wasn't. In any case, they were able to save their jobs. I hate to say this, but you know what? I think Daboll, offensively speaking, as an offensive coordinator, if he's surrounded with the right, but then again, every person who has the right quarterback will do really well as well too. But let's be honest, there have been offensive coordinators, OCs that have failed miserably when they had the right quarterback. It's just I think he has to maybe adjust the system a little bit towards the quarterback. I mean, we've seen it with Daniel Jones. I mean, basically, his system does not work with Daniel Jones. I think he tried to adjust the system a little bit. Problem was, is Daniel Jones did not know how to adapt to it. And the other aspect is Drew Lock. He did decent, not against Indianapolis, but against Philadelphia, a little decent. Not great, by no means great, but at least it was better than nothing, a little bit better than Daniel Jones was. But then again, Philadelphia was pretty much playing their non-starters. They're practically playing that practice squad, it seems like. So the fact that True Lock was able to do decent, and the fact that the Giants still lost was mind-boggling in and of itself. Quite honestly, I'm not sure what to do about this because I would say Daboll, you've given him enough leash to this point where I don't know if he's going to be good enough at this point to help out. I mean, I think he would be good as an offensive coordinator if he was with someone else. Possibly, if he were to go, I hate to say this, maybe he should have gone to New England. I think he would be a good coach for New England, quite honestly. Would he be a good coach for Las Vegas? Highly doubtful. Would he be a better coach over at, I don't know, Tennessee? I don't know about that. But in any case, the fact that we're seeing Vrabel being floated around for a bunch of teams, but the thing is, we know Vrabel is probably going to most likely be a New England Patriot head coach. Let's be honest, the guy has the Patriots' blood running deep into him. So it makes sense for Kraft to basically hire him, even though the other guy was, groomed, sort of to be groomed to be Belichick's successor, but it turned out might have been too early. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think we're going to see David. The question is now who he's going to get as his offensive coordinator. I think he needs to get a new offensive coordinator that really knows the system, that can work with the system and work with the right quarterback. Problem is like what did the Giants do in the draft? Because do I think there's a quarterback in this draft class? No. Do I think there's a good backup QB in that draft class? Possibly, yes. The question is like who do they go out there and pick? I mean, Darnold, I don't think he's going to fit well into the Giants system. So if he goes, he goes. Honestly, I think Minnesota's going to keep him and try to retain him. Kirk Cousins possibly might be the one that could, possibly be that stopgap for Arch Manning, depending on how Arch Manning plays. I mean, chances are he'll probably be available in 2026, maybe 2027, most likely 2027 over 2026. Because let's be honest, 2024, he was a freshman. 2025, he's going to be a senior. Sophomore. 2026, junior. Chances are 2027, he's going to go into his full 4 years of 2027. So we'll probably have to wait till 2028 for that draft. So the question is like between now and then, can you have a stopgap quarterback? Possible. Kirk Cousins possibly could be that 1 to 2 year stopgap a little bit, but you're still going to need someone else at that point. Can Drew Lock be that person? It definitely doesn't look like that. Should they make a trade for J.J. McCarthy? I don't know, honestly. But I'm going to give Daboll and Shine the benefit of the doubt, depending on how this draft class goes, what they do with this draft. If Shine is able to pull a miracle and get a first-round pick, a couple of first-round picks for the future by giving up the third-round pick, that would be by far amazing. But only time will tell. Like I said, we just need to wait to see what happens in this year's draft class, what Shine does. If he doesn't do much, it doesn't really bulk up the offensive line, as well as the defense. It's a problem, as well as figure out the quarterback issue as well too. Is Drew Lock the quarterback? I don't think so. Honestly, I thought maybe Daboll could resurrect him a little bit, but it doesn't seem like. I mean, he could try based on what he did with Indianapolis, but then again, Indianapolis, I think they just basically took things for granted with the Giants because they figured they probably was like, hey, we got an easy win. Turns out it wasn't, but it's neither here nor there. The only question that comes down to this is this right now: Who does Shine? What does Shine do with the third round pick? With the remaining draft picks that he has, considering that I think he's lost the sixth round and the ninth round pick, or the sixth round pick, and I think next year's fourth round pick for getting Burns. Question is what can he do at this point? I mean, he's been able to get a few things here and there out of for some people, basically, like with um, Tony, he was able to get something as a result. Honestly, the question is like, had they signed Barkley, maybe they could have traded him for some draft picks, honestly, because Phil definitely you see what he did with Philadelphia. So I mean, this is a guy I think that should have been Giants for a lifer, but again, the fact that they were paying, I mean, again, it was a mistake on their part. They should have realized. I think they're owning up to that at that point, that they made a mistake signing Daniel Jones for that kind of money, realizing that honestly, one, they probably could have gotten someone cheaper at that point. I mean, honestly, they should have just signed him for one more year to prove it or lose it, basically. And it's showing he's not proving it. It'll be ironic to see the fact that we're seeing now, after the way the Vikings, after Darnold played against the Detroit Lions, how Daniel Jones has been bumped up to almost backup quarterback, basically. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the playoff when if Darnold doesn't do well against the Rams, which is a possibility, strong possibility, will Jones be the one that steps in to help with the Vikings? Honestly, it'll be interesting to see how he does with the Vikings. Because if they move forward because of Daniel Jones, let's be honest, don't look at Daboll and the Giants as it's their fault. It's the system that he's in. I think it's a case of just like the way Sam Purdy is with the 49ers, the system itself proves and shows otherwise how good of a quarterback works in those systems. It's a system more than anything else. Because look at Garoppolo, Jimmy G. Basically, he did really well in San Francisco. When he went to the Raiders, he just plain out sucked. And then of course the aspect of Darnold himself, he sucked with the Jets. He sucked with the Jets. He sucked with the Carolina Panthers. Let's be honest. He did not do really well with the Carolina Panthers. It was only when he went to the San Francisco 49ers was he's doing decent enough that system was similar. That system that was being used by the 49ers was also almost practically the same system being used in the Minnesota Vikings, and that's where he thrived. I think Daniel Jones probably could thrive in that because, like I've said in the past, Daniel Jones was not good for the Giants. He's not a starter, but depending on the system, he could be a decent, if he's a good game manager, he probably can get it. But the thing is he's not accurate. He doesn't have the accuracy. Problem is he needs that accuracy. No accuracy, you pretty much are done as a QB at that point. Baker Mayfield, like we saw, basically, he proved himself with the Rams and then proved himself with the Buccaneers. It'll be interesting to see how things go along with it. I mean, then again, of course, Baker does have some wide receivers as well, too. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out as well, too. I would like to see what happens with the Bengals, specifically with their head coaches and their coaching staff, because considering that the way things played out, the fact that they lost to the Patriots in that first game shows that had they won that game, they would be in the playoffs right now. And it seems like every time the Bengals seem to start very slowly, and it makes no sense why they keep starting slowly every time and then starts picking up afterwards. It's as though it's like the first 4 games is their exhibition preseason, when it shouldn't be. It should be from the get-go start, but they don't. And I think it's more so the fact that the coaches are not prepared or aren't preparing their players properly enough. And I think that's a case where you know what? This is what I think Daboll actually, I hate to say this, but if Daboll was in that system, if he was the head coach of the Bengals, I think the Bengals, we'd be seeing the Bengals versus the Buffalo Bills or Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championships year after year, basically. Because I think Daboll surrounded with the right players, and the fact that I think his system would benefit really well for Burrow would accelerate the Bengals' chances of getting into the bowl year after year, basically. But outside of that, yeah, I'm not too angry about Mara not wanting to basically change management or the head coaches, but I think these guys are on a short leash right now. Come next season, if something doesn't come around for next season, I hate to say this, but they're probably going to be gone at that point. I hate to say this, but like even I would say, it's like cut the losses. Should they? I know I'm going over a little bit my time basically because I've usually tried to keep it between 5 to 10 minutes. I'm at 15 minutes right now. I apologize for that. Thank you for listening. If you're still with me right now, um, I'd love to know your thoughts and whatnot. But in any case, with that, I'll leave it at that. I'll probably talk more about it much more later. Let's see what happens down the line after the playoff games. But my picks right now in the final of the Super Bowl: Bills versus the Eagles. I want to say the Lions because they are the stronger team. But the way the Eagles have been playing as of late, and if Barkley does not get injured, the Eagles are definitely going to beat the they'll definitely beat the Lions in the playoffs. And with that, I'll leave it at that. If you like my channel, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, I do ask if you can subscribe to this channel. That'd be great. And with that, and please leave a comment in the comment section. I do read my comments, and I do read them all, and they do respond to them when they warrant a response, specifically related to the content of the video. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and of course, always unrehearsed. Until next time.